Welcome to Living from the Heart. I am your host, Tina Thrussell, light dancer, co-founder of Best You Can Be and messenger of the Shin, the Way of the Heart. Before I introduce my guest, I'd like to draw your attention to the little crawler at the bottom of the screen that invites you to receive a complimentary subscription to Heart and Mind Matters. Every other Tuesday, we send out an inspirational article, a YouTube video, and a quote of the week. And we invite you to receive that free by subscribing at bestyoucanbe.ca. So today, my guest is a beautiful friend who I feel so blessed to have in my life. I first met Judy online quite a number of years ago. We had a Zoom or a Skype call, and it was our first meeting, and we just chatted for hours, got along famously. She spontaneously sang a song for me, and I fell in love with this woman's heart and spirit. And she has blessedly been in my life since. She is a performer. She has been on stage singing, dancing, acting for, we'll just say, many, 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 many years. And she is, in my opinion, a walking, talking heart on legs. So as I pull up this image, I invite you to be introduced to none other than Judy Armstrong. Welcome to the show, Judy.
Hi, Tina. Good morning.
Good.
This is like memories for us, isn't it?
It is. Kind of neat to be here with the wonders of technology, connecting with one another once again.
Hi.
Hi. So, Judy, you are one of the most passionate people I know. I mean, you're a passionate performer. You're passionate about being connected with the source of all. You're passionate about life itself. Truly, what fuels you? How do you keep that beautiful sense of love and passion in your heart?
Actually, it is the inner core of me, the presence of me, I call it the I am presence, the connection with spirit. That's what keeps me and that's what feeds me all the time. Yeah. So I listen to that when I remember. I listen to that inner voice. Sometimes it's not a voice, sometimes it's just a feeling and a knowing, and knowing where I'm supposed to be, listening to the messages or the promptings. And when I do that, and I'm remembering more and more each time, and each day when I do that, then I always know that I'm on the right path. And that feeds me. So when I write music, or when music is written through me, that's what it feels like, then I get more and more energy. So it doesn't deplete me. I get depleted if I get into the human stuff. That is all the worldly duality things that we're living in right now. But when I remember the spirit within me or the presence within me, then that feeds me, and that is my passion. So I love people, I love singing, I love nature, I love children, I love simple things like hugging trees, and just enjoying every moment to the best of my ability. So that's
That is beautiful. And I'm noticing now, I've interviewed several guests, and this is a common theme, that awareness of the source of all within us, and that listening that keeps us in the place of being in our heart. And of course, with this show being called Living from the Heart, that's what this is all about, is reminding people, how do you live from your heart? How do you get out of your head? How do you get out of that everyday duality stuff that can pull you out?
I think for me, when I remember quiet times, that helps. And I find that you don't have to wait for specific times to be quiet. You can be in the quiet throughout the day. You can be standing at the sink doing the dishes. You can be having spaghetti on the stove, boiling over. And then, of course, maybe you just take care of that before you say, genuflect, 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 and you'd be in the moment. I did a talk once called, what was it called? Moving and meditating and moseying in the middle of the muddle. Because they're just like that, aren't they?
Yeah.
So sometimes, for instance, when I sit in the car before I drive somewhere, I just sit there for a minute. If I'm able, unless I'm 15 minutes late. But even if you are, if you take just a moment and you be still, you'll probably make there, not just on time, but you'll be there even ahead of time. So I just put that protection around me and take that moment in that silence. And then another place you could do it is right in traffic. So you're stopped at a stoplight. Not to get distracted, but you're present in the silence there. And the exit, you're very aware. It's not that you've gone off somewhere in your mind. So I have fun in traffic. So if somebody cuts you off, for instance, I've heard other people say, oh, call them all sorts of names, idiot or something. So I'll just call them a child of God acting like an idiot. So it doesn't faze me. Some things do, though. Some things, if I see someone hurt or someone in pain, I just, my heart goes out to them. So I remember our teacher, Tinks, my husband and my teacher, used to tell me, if you pass, let's say, an accident or something, to send a blessing right away and enfold that person, calling that all of the help that you want from spirit realms. If you see things that way, that's the way I see things, and that can do them more good than allowing your own self to be pulled down. Now, that being said, I just remembered when our son was 3, and Tink and I were driving along the highway near Cache Creek. We'd passed Cache Creek. And so just to make a long story short, there was a motorhome that we were pulling up to pass a motorhome, and the motorhome, without warning, pulled over in front of us without a signal and over to the left to a lookout. So pushed us right off the road. So we hurled down in a 150-foot cliff. So that's a story, different story. If I get into it, I get all emotional here. So something like that happens, or something very traumatic, like things that were happening all over the world, where people are caught in hurricanes. Suddenly they've lost their houses, they've lost everything. So how can I sit here and say, oh yes, well, that's very fine to bless the situation, but yes, there's some way that you find through all of the pain and the trauma and things that we go through, you come back to that silence, that stillness, that knowing, that presence. And that always comes for me. That always reminds me, no matter what I go through.
Yeah. So someone once taught me this symbol. Oops, where find the camera? What? There we go.
What did I thought of it?
Love and blessings. Love and blessings. So when there's a traffic incident, when there's an accident, where there's a hurricane, where you see somebody, when you see a child of God acting like an idiot, being rude to someone else, just send them love and blessings. And that physical reminder helps to take me back into my heart space. And it certainly brings up that place of, there's chaos out there, but here inside there is that peace and there is that love. And I can choose to tap into that, or I can choose to be affected by that chaos. And if I get dragged down, all I'm doing is contributing to the amount of lower energy vibration there is in the world. And so, the people who say, well, who am I to be happy and peaceful and calm when there's all this craziness going on in the world? Well, as you said, it's really not doing any good to be part of the down energy and the craziness. So who you are to be in that place of love is that child of God or child of Soa, universe, whatever name you use, that child of love, of divine love, that actually does have the potential to make a difference in the world.
Tina, you should teach this. I know you do. You spend your life doing that. You embody that, Tina.
Oh,
I knew that about you when we first met online. And
thank
we
you.
talked, and we'd always known each other. It was beautiful.
Yeah, I love that sort of experience. You meet someone for the first time and it's like you've known each other forever.
I
It
felt
really,
that way when I met my husband.
yeah,
And
yeah.
many of your friends and my friends know Tink. Tink Robinson was his name, and he passed into spirit 4 years ago. So when we first met, it was instant, just instant, and we spent 48 years together.
So beautiful,
I
so
know,
beautiful.
I know.
It
Very,
was the most beautiful relationship I have ever witnessed, I think, in this human lifetime. You two are amazing. Judy would come to the spiritual centers and sing, and Tink would be there in the audience with everyone else, just looking at you with such a loving, adoring eyes, just being so fully present at at you and at the spirit that you channel through you when you sing. Like that divine love comes through when you sing, Judy. It moves me to tears often. And I know that Tink felt that too. And I used to enjoy watching him watching you as much as watching you, because it was so beautiful. So
when we first met, we knew that we would work together, and we did all our lives. I don't know if I ever told you this, Tina, but when Tink and I met, it was in Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island, and we were both in the theater there. And he was in The Ottawa Man, which was a play, and Turvey, which was a musical. I was in Turvey, and I was also in Anne of Green Gables. And a day before the opening of Anne of Green Gables, I sprained my ankle. Now, Tink was in another rehearsal hall in the same complex, and he would always pop in to see how we were doing. Of course, quite often he was dressed as his little Irish character there with a lisp that he was playing in The Ottawa Man. And he had this little pork pie hat, little putty nose that he had. It was so cute. But this time he popped his head in the door and he saw me. He'd heard that I sprained my ankle, and he saw me on a chaise lounge watching the rehearsal. And my ankle was propped up on it, and Tink came right over to me. Now, I had only met him briefly a few times, just in passing, or I'd see who he was. He came right over to me and he knelt down on the floor by my ankle, and he put his hands on my ankle, and he said, "Do you want to go on stage tomorrow night?" I said, "I sure do." Because there I am. I have an important role in the musical, and there I am with a sprained ankle. And he said, "Well, just believe that you will go on stage, and you will."
Oh.
And I did. And it was real.
So beautiful.
My introduction to my wonderful husband, who was the first person to tell me to follow my heart. For quite a long time when I was younger, because I had a lot of accolades and a lot of scholarships and things when I was young, growing up, and my musical abilities and so on. And then there was some point where I started thinking, oh, this feels good. And then you put it on, but the real you gets hidden inside. So that was happening. And then when Tink came along, it was okay to express all of that and be real. And so, of course, now I've integrated all of those parts of myself that I maybe didn't like or didn't want to show anyone. And it's quite fun when you send the love to those places. And then, of course, I write songs about it, right?
Yeah.
And all different styles, too. So you've heard me sing, Tina, and I could sing something very stirring and inspirational, and something totally outlandish and silly.
You are versatile. There is no doubt about that.
It's why I can't be categorized. So maybe I need to create my own music category. What would that be, Tina?
Ooh, what would that be? My goodness.
Yeah, because I didn't fit into any of the other places. And then do any of us why are we trying to fit into something else anyway outside of ourselves, right?
There's a very good question.
Society, so that we can put out our business card and saying, oh yes, this is who I am and this is what I do, but that's not really who you are.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it sounds nice and it says I'm this, 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 and this. And yes, that's some of the things I do. But I'm just being here. How about that?
How about that?
On a business card.
Yeah. I'm me and I'm being me. Wow.
And saying about being me, you know that I play characters, right?
Yeah.
All different characters, because I had acting training at the National Theatre School, which was incredible grounding. So earlier on, I loved playing different characters. What I tended to do when I was young, which is only a few years ago, was I would throw myself into the character and then take that on. So what I had to learn was to be true and centered inside myself and play the character, have fun with the character, or depending on what kind of character it is, but still maintain that center. So I learned that very valuable lesson years ago when I auditioned, did my first audition for the theater school, and I had a wonderful, wonderful coach, Claudia, who had been on Broadway actually, and she was teaching me how to hold the emotions, because I used to flail my arms all over the place. So I remember her telling me to stand against the wall and feel the energy of my energy against the wall. And then I would feel that and then I would bring it out into the room. So I learned how to do that. So then the first role, the second role that I got when I was at late teens was at the Jubilee Auditorium. It was Polly in The Boyfriend. And I was very pleased that I was able to play a leading role at that age of my life, and always I'm feeling so wonderful about myself and everything. It's a false sense of it, but still my energy was always enthusiastic. So I would practice the lines with my mom helping me at home, and she would read the other script and I would do it. And then at the point in the musical where her Pierrot leaves and they break up for a while, then Polly is very distraught, and I was doing the lines and I found myself crying, and Mom was crying too, because it became so real. So then I thought, wow, I can cry at a drop of a hat. So then Claudia, who was my coach or something, I got into it. I really worked at the cry. Well, when you work at it, it's not real. It's not true. Right? But I worked and I tried, and I wanted everybody to see the tears, and I was going to make, so I'm going to hold my eyes like this so they'll smart, so they'll tear. And then after I did the scene, I went back to the dressing room and I sat in the dressing room and I kept the crying going on. Whereupon Claudia appeared suddenly. She levitated at my dressing room door. She said, "Stop it right now." And I went, of course, I wasn't really crying anyway, right? I was pretending to cry, and I was wanting everybody to know that I could cry. And she said, "Don't you dare do that." She said, "You cannot take it on there. When you leave the stage, it stops." And she told me that on Broadway, she played a role that she had to go crazy in I can't remember which act it was. So different scenes. So she had to do it in the scene, and then boom, there's a scene change. There's the revolving stage goes around, and there's and it's a very serene time. So she can't carry. She says, "You can't carry that." I said, "Oh, it would just play on and tear you apart inside." Yeah. So I learned that at a very young age. Thank God for all of the teachers that I have had all along the way have been phenomenal, extraordinary. In Calgary, when I did my early training, I had Eileen Higgin, who was my singing teacher. And I was 13 when I went to her.
Wow.
And, she inspired me so much. And then she was the one who got me scholarships, got me into the Beth School of Fine Arts and the National Theatre School and all of those. Well, that wasn't her, but she always encouraged me to do that. And then when I got the audition and I was accepted into the National Theatre School, they accepted 17 English and 17 French students at that time. after auditioning all across the country. So I was so thrilled to be part of that. And Eileen told me, oh, you must continue your singing. She said, there's a wonderful teacher in Montreal, Bernard Diamant, who taught Maureen Forrester. And I'll see to it that I recommend you to him. And he had a long waiting list, and bless her heart, I got in with him. So not only did I have him for private singing, but I had him at the National Theatre School. He taught the acting students speech, to use the resonance for speech as well as for singing. So I had him at the theatre school, and I had private lessons with him. We also had another wonderful teacher at the theatre school who also taught us speaking, was Eleanor Stewart, and she's taught all of the wonderful great actors at Stratford, and she worked in New York, and she was a phenomenal person. I'm so grateful to her. And even when we had the reunion of the National Theatre School students, the ones of us that were left, we talked about her and how she inspired us. And even to this day, I still use the exercises that she taught us. And I also use the resonance exercises that Bernard Diamant taught.
Beautiful. So you know what strikes me about this is that the universe sends you all these wonderful teachers with all these incredible experiences, and opportunity after opportunity appears. And this is a sign for me, I think, don't you, that you are following your passion. You are living from your heart. There is this support from the universe when we're on the path that resonates with us. It seems that everything falls in place and becomes a little more easeful when we're in that place of following our heart. Wouldn't you say?
Absolutely, Tina. As you were saying that, I was just remembering another wonderful teacher that I had in Hawaii. And one of the exercises that we had to do was tell our life story from a different point of view. You may have done this exercise, or it's various forms of it. So we had to tell our life story in, 4 minutes or something, as if we were the hero of our story, of our life story. And then we had to look at it as if we were a victim of our life story. And so the story is the same circumstances, but
Yes.
a totally different point of view. And then we had to talk about the lover. We're the lover there. And so we went from one aspect of one to another. And I remember the last one was everything in my life has been meaningless. And I thought, wow, how do I talk about my life is meaningless? Of course, that's the first lesson, the first day in the Course in Miracles, is that nothing has any meaning. I remember when I first did that, you're supposed to take a glance around the room and different things of that, and only take a minute, and that has no meaning, that has no meaning. And then I stopped and I looked at my husband's photograph, Tink's photograph, and said, well, I'm going to pass on that because that definitely has meaning to me. So I didn't quite get the exercise at first. And then, of course, the second one, these are my own words of it, is I give meaning to everything. So we're talking now, and I will take from this what it means to me, the lessons that I learned from you and talking with you and interacting with you. Or you and I can both look at something, a tree, for instance, or whatever, and I will take something totally different than what you learned from that. And yet, in the presence, it's both similar. It's both the oneness without words, the communication, but you will have your take on it and I will have my take on it. So that's what makes us wonderfully unique. And what a wonderful world this will be. And I still hold the vision that we will all respect each other's presence and not criticize and condemn, which is going on in this world so much now. Yeah. Go beyond that and see the truth of it all rather than the appearance.
Yeah, that says it, isn't it? Like you said, a child of God acting like an idiot. That's the appearance. That's the appearance.
That came from my granny character. Did I show you my granny character?
You didn't show us your granny character.
There.
There she is, Granny.
That's my granny. So that's a character that was created in Fort Steele when Tink and I had 13 summer seasons of shows at Heritage Fort Steele. And so Granny was there and was created. So she's done about 1,700 shows. She's actually going to come this weekend too. I'm doing a duo with another woman, a wonderful, talented woman, Laura Schuler, who lives in Calgary, who sings with the Woodhouse Band. And she also has another band called Five Shades of Grey. She's so talented, and it's very interesting for me because I have never worked with another duo except for Tink.
Oh.
And we had 48 years together, and we performed in cruise ships, dinner theaters, concert stages, shows, summer shows, all of that sort of thing. Television, worked with kids. And then after Tink passed, I just withdrew for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And then actually, when I say withdrew for a while, that's not quite the truth, because I think you were there, Tina. Nadine Rogers came over the day Tink passed, and she knew that I had agreed 6 months before that to sing at her retirement party.
Yes.
And then because Tink was not well, it was just a little iffy, and she had a backup. And then she came over that morning. That morning she came to me and she said, "Judy, you are free tomorrow, aren't you? Would you consider singing?" And I went, "Oh, well, I haven't had any sleep." And she said, "Well, what about sleeping tonight?" I said, "Well, I haven't practiced." She said, "Well, what about singing without practice?" So I knew I was going to say yes, and I did. And of course, my kids were there to support me because they had come out to be with me and Tink for last week, 10 days. And so I remember Nadine coming. Remember she came up from the back and put flowers, a bouquet of flowers on into that. Well, I just about lost it then.
Yeah.
And then I got up and there was that power that came through to support me. So I really felt I couldn't have done it, but it got done. It got sung through me.
Yes, it absolutely is. It's beautiful.
You know that song that I wrote, "Breathe into the Fire"?
Yeah.
And I wrote that after a 10-week rebirthing course. Not every day for 10 days, but once a week for 10 days. It was such a powerful song. So for me, it's all about surrender. And if I'm forgetting to surrender, I'll just sing that song and say, okay, because the more I let go and the more I surrender, then the more tone, the more sound comes and fills all these cavities that are projected through sound.
So speaking of that song, is that song available on your website? Like, we can access your music on your website, Judy Armstrong.
Yes, you can, Tina. Yes, it's judyarmstrong.ca. And you can click on songs, and then there's a drop-down menu, and there are the different CDs that I've done. And you could click on any one that you want, and then you can listen to clips. And then you can listen to just, I think it's 25 or 30 seconds or less of a clip to get the sense of if that song draws you or speaks to your heart or not. And if it doesn't, then there might be something else that will speak. So it gives you little samples. And then there's a link that you can click that takes you right to CD Baby. And if you like a song, you could actually download it for 99 cents, which is a pretty good deal.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I've put Judy's website here on the screen, judyarmstrong.ca. I can't believe we're already over. We're at our half-hour mark. It's like so quickly, so quickly.
Thank you. It's just a joy to talk with you and be in your presence. You're a delight.
And likewise, Judy. Truly, I can't say thank you enough for agreeing to be on the show and taking this time twice, because we didn't
plan to wear purple, did we?
We didn't plan to wear purple. It's amazing. It just proves we're much more in sync today. We we had all sorts of technical difficulties yesterday. I had to abandon the show, and here we are doing the show together in the same beautiful purple color. And being in that space of mutual appreciation and love, and clearly both passionate about living from our heart. And I thank you for sharing your stories and your passion with us, Judy. And I say hello to Katerina, who has been posting a little heart up there while we've been talking.
Hi, Katerina.
Yeah, she's my guest next week. So I invite you to tune in next Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. Mountain, September 18th, when Katerina, am I going to say it right? Berger? Oh boy, I better confirm that, Katerina. I'm sorry. She'll be with me next week. So until next week, we invite you to create for yourself a beautiful, loving week. We thank you again, Judy. I invite you to visit her website, listen to some of her beautiful songs, which come through her, not only through the lyrics, the music, but through her beautiful heart coming through her voice. Thank you for being here, and till we meet again. Ciao for now.